YouTube. Live. Hi. All right, so doing a little bit of experimentation with this Google Pixel 9 update that allows an external camera in certain live applications. It's pretty limited. We've done Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. It looks like it also will work on Snapchat. We don't promote a lot of stuff on Snapchat, so we're not really even going to test that. We're in YouTube right now. This is not a live. I'm just doing a screen capture so you can kind of see the process. But if you'll see here on the left-hand side, my left-hand side, these options of the cameras. Unfortunately, this is probably going to fail, so maybe it isn't the greatest example. I've got the GoPro configured to an 8x7 5.3K shooting in log video. If you're not familiar with log, it's sort of a flat gamma color spectrum, and it's not intended for live stream. It's intended to capture very raw video so that you can color correct it later a lot more accurately. So certainly that's not something you'd do in a live stream. But the reason why I'm testing is because that's sort of the bulk of the data that could be transmitted at one time. And I'm also trying to see if it's actually transmitting what the GoPro is configured at. It doesn't seem like the quality, the resolution is being passed to the Pixel. And so there's not a lot of documentation that we've been able to find that will sort of explain how this process works, because usually the GoPro for a live stream, you have to use a Wi-Fi signal. And we're not doing that in this case. This is actually, when you do a live stream, we have done it out in the field with the carrier signal, which means it's doing pass-through, kind of like the Mevo does. So curious how that works, but my suspicions are because that's something that Google is doing, it's probably a limited amount of video that's being passed through, and it's not the highest quality. But again, this is probably not going to work, but I'm going to go ahead and click on it and show you what it should supposed to do. And again, remember, this is not exactly what you would see in the live stream because this is a screen capture. But the sheer fact of the matter that it's taking that long, that keeps changing the shapes, means that it's really struggling to connect. And I saw the camera blink. Now it's doing the 3, 2, 1 thing. And then we're frozen. It is connected to the GoPro, it says, but I am frozen on my Pixel shot. I could see myself on the GoPro, but it's not passing through. So I'm going to switch back to my Pixel, and it did switch back, which is good. So what I'm going to try to do on the GoPro is I'm going to try to change it to a different option. I've got a basic long record, which is a 16:9 1080p. Not as good a quality. And we'll see if that works. And we're going to click on this. 3, 2, 1. And it did. So it is the voice and the picture may be out of sync because I'm capturing audio from the camera, and there will be a bit of a delay on this connection. But it does appear that the settings on the GoPro are passing through. The quality is not exceptional, but that does work. It just is very unstable. So I'm going to switch back to the Pixel. And that in and of itself is a much better shot. Obviously, I'm looking at my nose. If I'd get level here, it'd be a much better shot than what the GoPro is providing. And then the sensor on the GoPro should be exceeding the sensor, certainly the front sensor on the camera. So I'm not real sure. I'd be interested in experimenting with settings to see if you could increase that. The other thing to me that would be most beneficial would be to designate which device is the audio. Because what we typically, we're not right now, but what we typically like to do is to plug in a Rode Wireless Pro setup, and we do it through USB. And we would want that to be the primary audio, because we would clip a lapel or the module and capture that audio. But unfortunately, when you switch devices using this, the device that's currently visually active is also the audio. And if you were doing multiple cameras that were sort of separated from each other, that wouldn't be the best setup. So just a few things that we'd like to play with, and we're passing this on to you. If there's other stuff you want us to test with this, don't hesitate to reach out. Again, this is not something that we think will be most beneficial for you folks that are doing live stream and scoring, say like with GC or Sideline or AGL or anything like that, because it seems like the actual streaming app designated for that software is required to do this, and so you probably can't do it with those others until GC and Sideline and AGL add that feature to do multi-camera. But from our perspective, this certainly does not beat multi-camera in the Mevo infrastructure. The disadvantage is that you can't natively add a GoPro camera without jumping through some hoops to Mevo. It can be done. HDMI out is probably the most beneficial. But certainly this is something that if this continues to grow, it could definitely be beneficial to live streamers. So let us know if this is helpful, and if you'd like to see more stuff, we'll give her a shot. See you guys.